Hello, good evening.
Good afternoon. Good evening, sir.
Awesome. Sige, ma-start kita doon.
Oo, sir.
So, maybe your classmates will just come in to our as we go on. So, our lesson for this evening is about .NET application, and we are now on module 14 or chapter 14 of our class. So our objectives for this evening is to number one, design, develop, and deploy a web page. Number two, develop pertinent skills in debugging web pages. Number three, design a web page as a service on the internet. And number four, deploy different types of web applications. Okay, so for ASP.NET, although the technology is not very new anymore, ASP.NET has been some time since 2002. So ASP.NET is an open source server-wide web application framework designed for web development to produce dynamic web pages. So it was developed by Microsoft to allow programmers to build dynamic web pages, applications, and services. Although ASP.NET is very crude technology, it will eventually be replaced by other technologies such as Python or programming languages. And other than that, all internet applications are now drag and drop applications. So ASP.NET becomes a framework na lang. So when we speak about framework, this refers to the Microsoft applications, which enables the application.NET Core as a prerequisite for implementation. And before you install any Microsoft web applications, you must have an ASP.NET first installed in your computer. So ASP.NET application codes can be written in any of the following languages. So this is a mixture of different languages for ASP.NET. So the first one is the C#, which is the programming languages that we are using. Number two is the Visual Basic.NET, which is found on Visual Studio, the JScript, and the J#. So ASP.NET is used to produce interactive data-driven web applications over the internet. It consists of a large number of controls such as text boxes that you can see on C#, buttons, and labels for assembling, configuring, and manipulating code to create HTML web pages. In creating h.html web pages for the manual application, such as this one, ASP.NET is the bridge between your manual kind of coding for HTML and the automatic coding, which is can be found on third-party applications. So what is the difference is that on hard coding for ASP.NET, kamo lang gid kadaya butang dapat sa uluhan nyo yung scripts. The example of the scripts is the activity that you did last week. However, for the more adapt applications for automatic web pages, what I mean about automatic is the kung paano ninyo ubrahon or how are you going to create it. So this becomes very good foundation because all you have to do is to drag and drop. You don't need to memorize the programming codes and the scripts. All you have to do is to drag one application to another, and then the computer will automatically program the web page in whatever things that you are going to create. Okay, to continue with, we have the ASP.NET Life Cycle. As you can see, there are different versions that you can see on the screen. So most of the time, ASP.NET Lifecycle refers to when the web page is requested, it is then loaded into a server memory, and then it is processed and sent to the browser. So this comes into the loading of the memory within the memory of the computer, and such as there are different stages of this kind of life cycle. So let me give you the most standard applications. First is the page request. Second is the starting of page life cycle. Number three is the page initialization. Number four is the page load. Number five is the validation. Number six is the postback event handling. Number seven is page rendering. And number eight is unload. So whatever you can see on the screen, you limit only to 8 stages or life cycle. Okay, so when we speak about number one, the page request, this refers to the page, your decision whether to parse the compiled page, or this could be cached version of the page. Cache means stored in a buffer or a temporary file. Okay. Number two is the starting of the page lifecycle. At this stage, the request and the response object are set. And if the request is an old and postback, it is postback property of the page is set to true. So this refers to the starting of the page lifecycle. Number three is the page initialization. Whenever you initialize something on any web page assigned, you are going to use an identification, and this unique ID is the property and themes that are applied. So postback is loaded on the control properties and restored to the view state values. So this refers also to the applications for that HTML coding. So per page load naman, number four, these control properties are set using the view state and control state values. For validation, it is a method for validating control, and it says that your validation is successful or not. So if ever there's kind of a roadblock for validation, number six becomes the postback event handling. So this is the backup of any validating property of the web page nga hindi pwede. So, gina-detour niya sa postback event handling, and eventually nag-render na siya. This refers to the ultimate rendering of the web pages. So in your browser, you can see there that there's a lock sometimes on your HTML portion or the HTTP function, because it's for the security of the web page. So there might be some instances that you are going to go to websites which are not authorized or validated by Google or any parse or any clip-ons or any portal which recognizes the web page. So eventually, the rendering of that web page becomes contextual, meaning to say, kung ano, what you see is what you get, no? So it's WYSIWYG functionality. However, there are certain rules that needs to be handled. So before you go to page rendering, you must have a postback event handling first. And then for the unload is the last step, which kung ma-render dun ang web page ninyo, dayan dun gina-unload ang tanan-tanan ng properties or the things that you can see on a standard website. So if ever we have the .NET Lifecycle for your activity number 37, what you're going to do is to make a flow diagram of ASP.NET Lifecycle. You're going to draw it on a Visio or other drawing platform. You can use Microsoft Visio. If you don't have any Microsoft Visio, there are free versions of Microsoft Visio. The most notably ang 2017 version, guys. If ever you don't have any Microsoft Visio, it's okay. You can use Microsoft Word. Okay, so take note. You can use Microsoft Word for the diagram. And then you're going to do is to provide a screenshot, or if you don't want to provide a screenshot, just the whole document's a Word. You can upload it in your Google Classroom. Let's go to the session state management. For session state management, what you're going to do is to this is the implementation state session state management technique, and we are going to use the concept of session, which is part of your HTTP session state classes. Session, as you all know, is the variable which used for storing the user information or user's data. So as we know that in server-side state management, server-side means services ka inyo nga server. And then may ginatawag pa kita guys ng client side, which is kamo nga naga-interact, that is client side. May dyan man nga ang server side. Ang server side is the developer nga side. So what happens is that in the session, it will be available in the web server's memory until they are removed or the session expires. For example, each and every session will be representing a unique ID which can be called a session ID. So this session ID is in order to access the user's data, which is stored in your memory. You can access it by using ID. As you all know, guys, ang session state management, sorry guys, ang these are the tokens, no? So paano ninyo gina-access? Pareho man lang da ka ng inyong guys nga lock sa inyong nga balay or sa doorknob ninyo. Ibla may liabi kamo para mabuksan ang batahan. Pero sa tulad nga daya, ang session state management is just ang token or ginagamit ng tokens in every internet transactions that you will do. So you cannot go to any unauthorized access. Just like for example, sorry kada, i-grade ninyo, makita nyo doon nakabutang sa internet or ang inyo magpa-enroll kamo, dyan doon lang kamo sa internet mapa-enroll, hindi doon lang kamo mag-add to diya sa eskwelahan. So for example, pre-enrollment kaday tawag na system. Like for example, ma-pre-enroll kamo anay. So instead mapila kamo magbayad, all you have to do is to pre-enroll. Manaan nyo kung ano yung mga subjects nyo, manaan nyo kung ano yung subjects nga do assessment bilang nga nag-add to kamo sa din ninyo, pero online na lang. Then after kada guys, instead nga magbayad kamo sa sa cashier, pwede ka makabayad online or may i-print ninyo ang receipt nga makita ninyo sa pre-enrollment kag i-present to ya diretso kamo sa cashier kag tuya la kamo mabayad. So to do everything of this, what you're going to do is to have a token. So this token is your unique ID which you are assigned to you by the school or by any authorized access that you can find in your organization. So using those tokens, example na kadang ID ninyo, no? ID number. Using those tokens, unique nga tokens, guys, you can transact on the internet or other So this becomes your session state management. That is the very good example that I can tell you for session state management. For your activity number 38, because you have 2 activities, what you're going to do, guys, is to also make a diagram in your session state management diagram. You can search the internet for this, and pero dapat i-draw ninyo sa Microsoft Word and then provide a screenshot or probably upload your work in Microsoft Word in our Google Classroom. Okay? So let's go to Internet Information Services or ISS. IIS, I'm sorry. So for IIS, this IIS is Internet Information Services, no? And it is a web server software package. It is designed for Windows applications or Windows Server. What you're going to do for IIS is to provide redesigned www architecture. The 3 W's. The www is the World Wide Web, and that can help you achieve better performance, the scalability, the reliability, and the security for websites. So IIS is used to host an application over web server and is accessible from your client systems via the web browser. So what are the characteristics of Internet Information Service? Actually, your Internet Information Service, this is just the memo. Ang kung may mga notification ninyo bala guys, ang notification services ka Google, that is a very good example of your IIS. Nga for push notification kada ginatawag. So just like when you are using your Android phones, because you have Gmail already embedded in your cell phones, may makatanggap ka mo kung kisa ka mga notification. So this notification is the example of Internet Information Service. Ang first characteristic niya is componentization. So this is to reduce surface area and the most powerful way to secure your server system. Another characteristics is extensibility. So this benefit the functionality that in many cases cannot be easily provided the application layer. Number 3 is the build custom. And for build custom, you can provide your customer or features to extend or replace any existing functionality or third-party server components. For database manager, this provides the ability to connect to any database on the network. And the last one is the web platform installer. So this is the best one for website users. And the web platform installer is a gallery of the popular software installation. Kung baga instead of downloading application, install it on your computer. Kung sa Android naman, may mga Play Store ka mo. So this is a very good example of a web platform installer. Mga Play Store, your Huawei and app gallery. So those are the very good example of a platform. What is the advantages of IIS? Secure the server by reducing attack surface area, improve performance, and reduce memory footprint, empower web application, quality enhancement for lots of bug fixes, and application warm-up tech for best web performance. Anang disadvantage are managing it is tiring, or you have multiple servers over the internet can be slow and cumbersome. Cumbersome means medyo mahinay gawa and dako ang memory niya. So not all configuration property can be accessed in the user interface. So there's poor GUI, or the graphical user interface. GUI represents you and the interaction of your computer nga duwa ka mo. So GUI na siya. Okay, let's go to our next slide. Creating virtual directory within the websites. For creating a virtual directory, you can have a scope of listing. So this scope of listing is general in scope and list websites across range or category, just like your Google bala, guys. If you're Google COVID-19, then after pressing the enter key, Google will find links in relation to COVID-19. Ang makita ninyo ang sa dalom din nga nga ginapanglista niya, those are the scope of listing. That is a very good example of scope of listing. For development, there have been many attempts to build web directory, no? Pero I think mas marami man gyapon ang Google, guys. However, ang drawback lang sa Google is ang dako na memory ang space na ginagamit. So if you're using Windows 10 right now, and take note that this May, Windows will update again, and the update for Windows will be it's not gradual anymore but a major update. So there will come a time that ang computer ninyo should run at least 8 gigabytes of memory, kay kung hindi ma-slow gid siya. So kay tungod sa update, or what you're going to do is to reformat your computer. Kay tama dun kaduro yung update, yung memory niyo doon anang mga dyan, doon kung, like for example, kung tawo ka, duro na panumdum mo, overload siya. So i-reformat nyo anay antes para maklaro himo nyo maturog ka mo anay, or para magklaro pagkaaga, para hindi ka mo malipat or something na. Kay sa computer niyo the same na siya, guys. Kay kung duro memory nagaran sa systems ninyo, there will come a time that you must free something so that continuous ang pag-andar niya. So this is also in relation to the development of your virtual directory within websites. Kung ginalimit lang, ginahimo nanda, ginadirectory nanda, ginahimo, ginapasunod, ay parang nga kung ipangitaon nyo doon, kung diin ng website nanda, makita nyo lagi. So if you will notice nga naga-loading siya, kung mahinay ang load niya means ginapangita na pala. Then buffer kada tawag. So what you're going to do is to wait until such time that all of the things that you wanted to know in Google will be displayed for you. Okay? For deploying web applications, next slide, we have several instances that you need to adopt. And these are just the applications resources such as servlets, Java servers. When you go programming, just like HTML, it is integrated into several languages. Just like your JavaScript, Java. Take note that Java is different from JavaScript. So ang JavaScript na is the script written inside your HTML, pero ginagamit tan yung pada ka PHP. So medyo gasamo guys. Mundag ako ano kao. Mas masabad ang web page niya himuon actually kaysa database. Kay database na isa lang panumdumon mo. Kung paano ka create ka table, kung paano mo pagana ang database mo, paano ang nga interface kag ang form, ang tsura niya. Pero kung web page gani guys, there are other than that, nagapahapos na lang gid maghimo ka web page kay gina drag and drop na lang. Pero karang una wala gina program gina siya. So duro ya languages nga kasamo. In deploying web application, it must be that all of those programming languages will be compatible with each other. So it's not that perfect nga dapat integrate mo gid sanda. However, there should be a purpose if you're going to make, like for example, a line for a JavaScript, yung gina-insert ninyo sa HTML file, dapat may purpose da guys. Kaya kung hindi, gasamo, matabo lang, no, something like that. Whew. To deploy a web application, you must have to arrange the resources. You have to write the application, web application descriptor. So may descriptor ka. Then create a WebLogic specific deployment descriptor. You must archive the files in the directory and deploy the web application on WebLogic servers. That's the last part. May mga sub-components pa na siya. So we're not going to talk about it because malawig. Kag I know that we are limited only to the understanding of general knowledge on web application. So hindi pa kamo guys mag bira-bira gid kay mo web page. So aton lang as mga lang gid simpler activity that I wanted to you to make because may subject din you guys nga mahimot niyo ka web page isa da ka subject gid. So though hapyaw lang yun because it's also related to our subject. So however, you still you will have to undergo several steps going forward. So maybe in the future you will learn how to create your own website. I think that is all, guys, and thank you for listening for this evening. I hope that you learn something out of our lesson for this evening. Okay, so let me check the. Okay, so there are 12 of you. Whenever I had kagina at the start of the lecture, isa lang gid, and I know si Yvette pa lang naka ano. So good thing that you attended our lesson for this evening. And these web pages and web stream topics is I don't know if next week we're going to so I will jump to another topic naman. So I hope that you have learned about the activities, and please do lang yun. Those are the simple things that you need to do. Diagramming kita do karon nga week, so hindi kita na mag-program. You have to make a diagram. So the diagram should be placed on Microsoft Visio, but if you don't have any Microsoft Visio because it's used for drawing and design, you can use also Microsoft Word and Microsoft Word nga, no? Okay? Okay, so do you understand, guys, our topic for this evening? Did I miss something? Nalipat ako? Medyan guro, no? Did I tell you to you get the examination? Why? Or tapos doon? Tapos to kita, guys, no? Sa midterm?
Bala, sir.
Oo. Sige. So, okay do kita sa Okay, so do you have any questions, guys, regarding the topic for this evening? Yes, Jaya, do you have something to say? Good evening. Yes, may pamangkot ikaw? Okay, sige. No more? Okay, so if you don't have any questions for this for our topic, please jot down your attendance already on our text box. So it is found on your so naga-jump ako ng computer, no? Okay, sige. Okay, so thank you so much, guys, for listening, and I would like to before you go, I would like to make comments and issues of this is just my personal opinion, and it's not from this is not mandatory or whatever nga halin sa eskwelahan. However, guys, this is my own point of view, and I don't know if you can be vaccinated right now because the vaccination is rolling out already, and I don't know if you're qualified kay underage pa kamo siguro 18 do kamo, why pa? Kay there are some issues that I would like to point out. This is not related to our school, no, hindi na siya this is just my personal opinion. And the things that is happening right now, and you all know man ang balita sa CHED that online learning will still continue after the So, and then some of your classmates have remarks regarding our situation. So, ang point ko lang gid is how are we going to conduct face-to-face classes pay nga way gani kita mabaksinan. And we all know that vaccination is just one solution, no. I'm not saying that it's the perfect solution para nga naton, but it will speed up things. Kung vaccinated abi kita, there will come a time nga para makaatubang kita or face-to-face. Hindi man siya garantiya nga hindi ka mo magka-COVID, pero at least this is just a protection on yourself and for other people. So, I'm not forcing you or anything, and this is not part of your grade. I'm telling you. And this is just the reminder lang gid, no? And this is one solution for everyone or for everybody. If you are not qualified to be vaccinated, and ang tadlungon ko you have the power to make straighten things out. Kay ang iba na binahadlok pagid, no, yung mga iban yung mangkilala, mga vaccination is not ang tao abi nahadlok sa mga things nga hindi nanda pa matistingan or mga bagong things nga hindi nanda matirawan. Pero hindi ka mo magpe-influensya sa ibang nga tao. Basta pamasa-masa kita, amo gani lang tudloan kita magbasa. Mangin aware kita sa palibot, mamati kita sa kabalita sa radyo or sa TV. Ang mga saktong information ang basahon. Hindi nga dang labay-labay before you come up with any solution or any decisions that you will So in my personal opinion, I know nga nahidlaw man kamo mag face-to-face doon. Dang paano kita mag face-to-face kung hindi ka mo magpa-vaccine? So, mo di ablahaw. Akon man lang guys yung opinion ko. Hindi lang takon mag-influence kaninyo gid. Kamaan naman kamo mag-decide para sa self ninyo. Ang akon lang gid is make a wise choice, not only for yourself, but for your other people nga sa palibot media. So that is it. Thank you, and thank you sa pagpamati. Kabay pa nga matapos dya, and next semester daan maka face-to-face kita dun. So thank you guys, and good evening sa tanan. Okay, sige. If you don't have any more questions or anything, salamat gid sa pagpamati kag sa pag attend ninyo ka klase naton so far. So this is the 14th session. I think may 4 pa kita ka session na nabilin before we have our final examination. So, or it might be, guys, stay tuned lang gid, no, sa mga announcements. Okay, it might be that I don't know kung tapuson tagid ng 4 nga da, or base pira lang ka weeks ang mabilin kag final exam kita. So ang sa isa ka semester abi dapat may 18 guys mo, 18 meetings, 18 weeks. So 18 weeks before kita mag 18 ka week. Kay week number 14, so may 4 pa kita nabilin until So, sige guys, you can go now. And thank you so much for listening. And see you next week. Okay? So, thank you so much, guys. Gonna
Sir,
shout out kanina.
sir.
Thank you, Fritzy.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, Yvette. Thank you. Ikaw yung una kay Inagid. Vivian,
Thank
good
you, sir.
evening.
Good evening,
Thank you,
sir.
John Paul. Good evening. Jaira, kay na si Jaira, why pa nag, nagwa na siya. Siguro naka-attendance
Sir,
naman.
pwede ko
So,
pa
John,
galit, sir.
Christian. Yes,
Sir, pwede
yes,
ka
John
pa
Paul.
Ang may classmate pa ba dabi kami wala kakuha katong exam last year.
Oo,
Sana sila pwede
schedule, schedule naman natin liwat. Sorry guys, hindi ta ka mo ma-accommodate do karong semana mas ako kami no may prepare ako para sa co-op no. May dyan ako minobra kag may dyan pa akong klase tomorrow sa third year. So hindi ta ka mo ma-accommodate do karon semana basi next week lang. Oo. Basi next week it's either Monday or Tuesday. Naghulat ako kaninyo sa karang Lunes it aga sa magbuol ka module daad.
sir.
Kada Lunes ako gabalik sa school. Work from home kami abi guys. Why kami gabalik sa eskwelahan pero karang Monday nga di ba nag-request ka mo mabalik sa morning.
Yes, sir.
Tiganing why man hasta nag-uli ako alas 12 why man it may nag-abot. Why ko abi ginabilin sa yung module sa guardhouse. Tuya dato sa may faculty room. Taguri ako tuya naghulat pay why man it may nag-claim. So Monday duman either mabuol kita ka exam Monday classmate nyo tapos pwede ka mo to kabuol ka module ninyo sa Monday.
Okay, sir. Apo.
Liog lang hambal ka ng dato ha kung interesado sa na magbuol ka module or magbuol ka exam.
Yes, sir.
Ma-announcement ako sa GC ninyo.
Kada Monday, sir, no? Kada Monday ka lang tuya sa office.
Huga balik kami Monday pero do karon nga abi 2 weeks kami gin work from home kami gid tanan bilog gid para
Okay,
na COVID nagataas naman amo daya rason insa why kami gabalik sa eskwelahan pero nakabalik ako Monday sa Monday nga dyan ma-duty mabalik ako sa Monday oo
sa Monday lang sir this Monday
yes to May 31 i-exam ninyo kag ang mga module sa May 31
sige po.
okay, thank you John Paul and Anthony, good evening, thank you so much guys. Okay sige ko dun guys sa recording stop na.